realities.
Good morning. How are y'all today? Hello. Good morning. Grand Rising is what I've been greeted with this morning, and I like that. I'm going to say Grand Rising. A lot to talk about today. Let me just get right on into it. Mary Wilson, rest in peace, my sister, rose up to that news today. You know, it's quite a bit of it's big news, you know. So for my younger generations, you know, before there was Destiny's Child, we had the Supremes. You understand? And Diana Ross, Mary Wilson, Florence Ballard, they were the standard when I was a young lad running around. And to hear of the passing of Mary Wilson, we're going to pay tribute to her in just a hot second here. Let's just go ahead and get right into that before we get to our guests here. If you guys just indulge us here at Coffee Conversations with Greg J. Found some stuff out there on YouTube and really exceptional information. Let's just give you a quick background of Mary Wilson. Hold on one quick second. And we're going to get right into it. Yes. Yeah. How are you guys doing today in this COVID environment? It's a lot, isn't it? Yep, I know. Here we go.
She's been called a legend, icon, music pioneer, and supreme. The world came to know Mary Wilson as one-third of the most successful girl group in history. Born in Greenville, Mississippi, Mary lived in St. Louis and Chicago, but her journey to superstardom began when she met Florence Ballard and Diane Ross in the late 1950s when she moved to Detroit's Brewster Projects. Starting out as a quartet, they were first known as the Primates. Mary's smoky and sultry voice was perfect for the ballad, they say. After Motown founder and visionary Berry Gordy signed them to Motown in 1961, they went from the Primates to the Supreme. Their lives changed in 1964 when the girls got their first hit. And it was a big one. Holland Doja Holland, Where Did Our Love Go? Then came another hit. And another. Until they had 5 consecutive number one records, including their trademark. What made the Supreme special? High glamour, poise, class, and talent.
A delight to have these 3 little girls on my
sharing the stage with some of the biggest names in the business. Sammy Davis Jr., Bing Crosby, Judy Garland, specially closed to black groups performing at prestigious supper clubs like the Copacabana in New York City. Mary pushed herself to work even harder at her craft as her group's fame and success grew. When she wasn't touring, she and her bandmates worked tirelessly on harmony, choreography, and stage presence. The Supremes would become the standard by which other girl groups were measured.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, Miss Mary Wilson.
And anytime she led a song, Mary gave it everything she had.
You're just too good to be true. Can't take my eyes off you.
Their legendary television appearances shot their fame into orbit. Families everywhere gathered around the TV to see them perform. Even today, fans watching YouTube clips rave about the group.
Honey, we is terrific.
And Mary's great timing and undeniable beauty.
Let's have a fine welcome for Supreme.
The Supremes made a whopping 17 appearances on The Ed Sullivan Show alone, and really became the first black musical act to achieve complete and sustained crossover success. By the late 1960s, the Supremes had sold more than 50 million records worldwide and racked up an astounding 12 #1 singles, setting the record for the most consecutive #1 hits by an American group. They rivaled the Beatles in worldwide popularity.
Once Florence left and then Diane left, I was alone. I had to make up my mind what I wanted to do.
Mary decided she would continue on as a Supreme in a new lineup. In addition, Mary took over management of the group in 1973 and began singing lead on at least half the songs on every new Supremes album. When the group disbanded in 1977, Mary went solo, and in 1979 released her first solo album containing the disco hit Red Hot. But Mary's next big success would come with writing her memoirs. Dream Girl, My Life as a Supreme became the best-selling rock and roll autobiography ever published. As a humanitarian, Mary gives inspirational lectures all over the world. In 2003, she was named a U.S. Cultural Ambassador by Secretary of State Colin Powell. And as a musical activist, Mary has helped keep imposter groups from performing under the names of famous acts like the Marvelettes and Supremes through the Truth in Music legislation, now on the books in more than 27 states. More recently, Mary hit the road with Dionne Warwick and Roberta Flack for the 2015 Legends Tour in the UK. Also in 2015, Wilson released a new single called Time to Move On, a top 20 Billboard dance hit. As keeper of the Supremes legend, she has assembled a touring costume exhibit of the Supremes' iconic designer gowns. Mary was the only original Supreme present when the group was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1988. And again in 1994 when the trio received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Today, this legendary artist continues her successful career as a concert performer. Touring the world, She has survived more than 50 years in the music industry, and through it all, as a singer, author, musical activist, and mother of 3, Mary Wilson still reigns supreme.
Really want to just pay tribute and honor to the memory of Mary Wilson. You know, I saw something on video, and we'll play it after we talk with our guest today at the end of the show. She just posted a video like 2 days ago, you know, talking about her new projects and everything. You know, it just goes to show you that life is just fragile. And this morning, that's what I'm looking at, is like our fragility of life. Enjoy every moment. That's what we have to do. Mary Wilson, rest in peace, my sister. All right. Today, we have a special guest here. You know, we're all things about building bridges of music, arts, and culture with Africa and African America. That's what we like to do. You know, been going back and forth to Africa for quite some time. We just were recently introduced to some brothers who, you know, from Kenya originally, but living in Texas. You know, P.S. the ReBels, they're here. Good morning. Good morning. Can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can y'all hear us?
Yes, we can hear you. Look at that. Okay.
Word.
Pion, let me see. Pihon, how do you say your name, my brother? I'm just meeting you all, so if I butcher your name, just I apologize. I'm trying to unmute you. Let's see.
Well, while you're unmuting him, I'll let you know it's Pyhon.
Pyhon. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Let's see.
And I'm Samuel.
Samuel.
Yes.
I've been saying your name for. I cannot unmute him. Try it on your side, my brother. There he is. All right. Yeah. Samuel. I've been saying your name ever since, since I got your bio.
Word.
I just like it. I like the way you spell it. Spell it for the people.
Yeah. S-A-M-U-I to the double 12th letter. That's two L's for you guys. Samuel.
Yes. Beautiful thing. Man, welcome to Coffee Conversations with Greg J.
Thank
you guys so much.
Thank you.
Got your coffee? Yes, sir. Okay. Okay, listen. So, you know, let me just get right to it before we're going to talk about your music, your new singles and all of that. But I want to just, you know, as I read your history and everything, I realized that, okay, so you brothers, you know, born in Kenya, but now are Kenyan Americans. So you've been here a minute here. You know, we're dedicated to dispelling the myths about Africa here at Dream Creator Studio and Coffee Conversations with Greg J. We've held so many talks and conversations with our brothers and sisters here. Talk a little bit about when you came here. The homies weren't too nice, eh? When you first got here, and
you know what? Funny experience. That's very true. So when we break from,
hold on, I'm getting an echo from you.
Yeah, I'm getting an echo.
You hear that, Greg?
I don't hear an echo at all.
Okay. Well, just go for it.
Carry on. So we moved there. At the time, it was a lot on radio. But just moving and just acclimating into this system, this new culture. I know I definitely got a lot of altercations, a lot of advice as a young you know, people just being African, you know, the whole African, you musty.
Right.
You know, you live on the highest tree, you live in a hut, you know, all that stuff. So I didn't really know how to take to that when we first
you went on mute over there.
I don't know what's going on. But yeah, just ultimately, you know, just people didn't understand the culture, so we just got into a lot of fights. A lot of English barrier languages too. Like we would speak in the British English, and in America they speak American English. So even that journey in itself was something to be remembered. I mean, that's just my experience. Sam, what's yours?
Well, I want to ask you about that a little bit. So the brothers, they're giving us the African booty scratcher. Okay, we hear that all the time, right? We hear this term all the time, and it's really funny. I was talking to a friend of mine. We were having a conversation at one of our panels discussions, right? And so, my brother was talking to me. He said, "Man, remember we were on the college campus and the Africans." I'm a little older than y'all, so I'm like your uncle. So I'm gonna just say this. In our generation, we would see, the African students coming from Africa. They're on the campus and everything. And that was the term that a lot of the Americans would, extend to the brothers and sisters. I remember one sister on campus even looking at the Africans and saying, "They're not even black." And I'm like,
Yo, listen. That was one of the most using thing. Like I really didn't understand it. But when I first came, even honestly, the term African American, I never heard that. And again, I came here very young, but still, I had never heard that. So whenever I heard African, I remember specifically on the bus, we were riding school, whatever. This kid got up and was like, "Yo, I'm African. Don't ever call me African." I guess there was an argument going on in the back of the bus, and he said, "I'm African American." And to me, when I heard that, I was so confused, right? But then now I'm older, I see it because most of us have been taught about each other through the eyes of the oppressor, is what I like to say.
Checking something out here for a minute because I'm just getting an echo and I don't know where that is.
Yeah.
Let me just check our controls before we go on. Don't worry about it. We're going to get this together. I don't understand why we're having that echo like that. Hold on. Let's see here. I don't know. Yes. All right. Let's see. I don't hear it. I hear it on my monitors over here, but I don't hear it in my headphones.
No.
Can you all hear it?
No.
Okay.
It's not echoing anymore.
All right. Well,
I still hear the echo.
You still hear the echo? Okay.
Yeah, a little bit of echo. But it's mostly coming from Python, say something?
Yo.
Did you say yo twice?
It's only, okay, so... it's on your side. So does someone have their headphones? You got both have headphones in, I see?
Yes.
We're straight? Okay.
I
don't know. Okay, we just gonna keep on going. So,
Samuel,
talk. To your point though. You now as you've grown and you've matured, you got your roots here now.
Right.
How have people evolved with their perception in your mind, especially in your generation? I mean, now you know what your generation. We're listening to African music. There's a new consciousness and stuff now going on. Is it changed now, or are we still African booty scratchers?
So it depends who you ask, right? But definitely has changed from when we came tremendously. Even people who are not from the continent, the Africans in America. Claiming their roots, things like Ancestry.com and all kinds of different ways for the kind of backtrack and the welcome to Africa. Ghana is doing a lot of the African Americans. So the conversation definitely changed, and it came to the Africans and the Americans who were trying to make progress at that time, the Black Americans at that time, because the conversation really changed when the internet happened. The internet gave us control of our narrative, control of our own, to tell our own stories without waiting for the news. Where I feel like when I first got here, most people only know about Africa based on National Geographic, feed the children commercials. So they were really ignorant to it, and just bringing us to to now. You have Africans with cell phones. They'll show you, look, it's not just ghetto in Africa. I'll show you right now, without having CNN or whatever, filter that message. So I feel we just more control the narrative, and the same also with America as Africans, the illusion of Americans. Also the same thing. How a lot of African Americans are looked down on in society. Just looking at the injustices and inequality from housing and economically, the power structure. Like, we didn't know about that in Africa. So, creating more that control of the narrative, I feel like that's what's really changed it.
It's really interesting because we organize trips to South Africa every year, and
dope.
When we roll through, we go to the Cape Town Jazz Festival and all that. We take a survey at the end of the 2.5 weeks that we're over there, and the brothers and sisters, the number one comment they say is, "Man, Brother Greg, they don't show us this Africa in America. They're looking for grass huts and everything like that. It's really crazy. Yes,
right.
Yes. Okay, Mr. Pion, what do you say?
All right. Before I speak, name is
Python.
Just think of it like this, like a python.
Python. Okay.
No T.
Python. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. So, what do you think? I mean, when you see these differences that we're talking about, what's your initial thought? And now that you're here, how do you educate the homies? I mean, that's what it is. You got to build some bridges, man.
Right. That's very important. So the first thing as Africans or as a black moving today and integrating with the culture here, you want to have that bond, that camaraderie. Because a lot of times people move over here, they don't have about eliminating on the other Americans introducing a different perspective on Black culture, which would be, in my case, is African perspective. So that's the most thing. You want to be at least able to preserve the camaraderie, the sisterhood, the brotherhood. And then from there, you would just start having dialogues. You would just having conversations about things that you have both have experienced. Because too many times or too often we focus on the differences in the cultures as opposed to actually focusing on the similarities. And once we switch our brain and actually start focusing on the similarities, we'll see, hey, you know what? We do have a lot of traditional similarities, a lot of things that are very, very same. We're experiencing it. There are a lot of remnants of African culture and tradition throughout the world, and you can see those examples every single day. So the more that the world is exposed to Africa's influence upon it, culturally, socially, economically, scholastically, however you want to layer it, the more the world sees Africa's influence, the more the world will start to see Africa as a community, or as a partner, or as a friend, or however you want to have it. But right now, the world is not viewing Africa as that. We're just viewing Africa as like a lost and found basket. Everybody just want to go in and just grab things and pull things out. So I think that's one of the ways that we can go ahead and remedy, bring some alternative interaction between both communities. Is exposing the similarities between those communities.
Payan, that's a very good point. I want to say, when I talk to young people, I'll just say your generation, because I'm very passionate about building this bridge of music, arts, and culture. And that's why I want to kind of revolve our conversation this morning about exactly what we're chatting about. And the first thing that a lot of people say, the young people say, is, those Africans don't like us. And I'm like, what? Huh? And because, you're absolutely right. There's more alike about us than different. I'll give you a story. I was driving around South Africa one time, and We stopped at we was out in the, I rented a car. Okay, so this is the whole thing. I rented a car. I was out there and I was deep in Africa, and we stopped by an open market. You know, and the sisters were on the side of the road selling the peanuts and all of the whole stuff, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
she had greens. And so I started talking to her about, oh, yo, these are greens, you know. And she said, oh, you have greens in America? I was like, yes. And we started talking about it and understanding that there were so many similarities with how the greens were prepared. And it blew both of our minds. We were just like, dang, you know, this is really a trip, you know, 10,000 miles away. So many of our culture and traditions have come across the way. But when the young people say, hey, you know what, those Africans don't like us. What? I'm sure you've heard that. What do you think?
Right.
Well, from personal experience, I've met Africans, maybe generation before us that came here. Maybe some of them generation came at this time. There's a lot of calculation that's happening through the media, through TV, music, movies. Even aside that, they have the programming actually starts like even at the airport. You know, I have some friends who have actually told stories of being indoctrinated at the airport, being basically told, stay away from Black Americans. They're criminals. They're this, that, and the third. If you want to be, you know, progressive, if you want to be successful in this new country that you are an immigrant in, then you would want to stay away from African Americans. And they do it in subtle different ways. But some people have actually told me that they're watching documentaries at the airport, like in interrogation rooms type scenario. So. Yeah. You know, that's important to take that into consideration, because this friction or this tension that's between Black Americans and Black Africans, that tension is not natural. It's there by design. Yeah. You know, which is why the education surrounding Africa is trash, is boo-boo. And that's part of the issue right there, the education on African influence. And, you know, too many times, too often that we're just sitting there just not regarding Africa and just looking at Africans in this light or in that light. But, you know, again, the more people see the similarities, you see we're eating the same foods. A lot of the slave food, a lot of that was inspired by African food, with Africans who still kept the same recipes, who kept the same ideas. They even have stories of Africans braiding rice grains into their hair and getting on a boat and then bringing those rice grains here to the States, and you know, starting a whole different process, whether it was in the Caribbean or whether it was in the States. But yeah, I think that it's very sad that the indoctrination happens before Africans even get here. Yeah. And even when they get here, the indoctrination's there. And the same thing with America, with Black Americans. FBA is the same exact thing. Their indoctrination has started way before Africans were even, you know, coming here, like in the modern world. So that is really sad, but one way to really combat that is just showing the similarities in both cultures.
So true, man. So true. So now here we are, the three of us, we're building bridges. This is our mission of the day. So I always say, let's bring everybody to the table through music. Now, talk about your music and how, you know, what are your influences in your music now? Okay, so you brothers, you know, born in Kenya, raised over here. I think I saw somebody said Tupac was one of your influences.
Oh, yeah. Listen, Tupac is like he's a martyr in Africa, man. You know how we saw it. You know, when Tupac passed, he was spray painted on all the walls. Even today, you'll see a lot of his iconic. Obviously, you know, it's been over 20 years, and people talk about Tupac in Africa. So to talk about our music, some of our influences. And I'll speak on my end. Well, our mother is a major part of our influence. You know, as far as putting that African stamp on everything that we do. You know, so from, you know, just blending the music with African, you know, beats, making sure we always highlight the conversation and bring this conversation about. So everywhere we go, this conversation is being had. Whether it's, you know, with African Americans, white America, it's taking control of the narrative, because as Africans, our narrative has been taken by everybody. So it's all about, us kind of taking that control. So bringing us to the music, PS the Rebels it's about, first of all, it's hip hop. We hip hop students, hip hop connoisseurs, but at the same time in hip hop, like you see everywhere, from Tupac to, well, not even saying Tupac, but going from the West Coast to the East Coast and the South Side, everyone kind of put their stamp on it. It was not just one coded American culture. New York had their, they brought Tim's and the whole swag that New York brought, the language that they brought, and bringing it to the West Coast and everything that they brought, the lowriders, the cultures, or the barbecues outside, everything like, Ain't Nothing But a G Thing was the first video that really registered in my mind of like, yo, we're similar. And then, the South has its own culture as well. Growing up in Texas, it's like, from the candy paint to the grills and everything. So everyone brought their stamp, and as hip hop students, it's like, well, what's our stamp? We got to bring our own stamp. And, we don't want to tell someone else's story. We want to tell our own story. So, bringing us to even some of the new music, Boomaye, Boomaye is, Lingala for kill 'em. And it's bringing that whole energy of triumph, the African spirit, and, and bringing our similarities, linking us up through a struggle, because we have had different cultures and different experiences in the past 50, 100 years. But, as you said, music is connecting us. You're seeing Wizkid connected with Drake, and you having this Canadian African connection, and then you have the Africans, T.I.'s doing work with Burna Boy and all this different stuff, and Diddy with Burna Boy, and it's a good thing, because we're taking control of this, and we're recognizing economically we're more in power working together than trying to go just for the number one spot. So that's kind of what our music is about.
Yeah, it's interesting. Boomaye, I started chuckling when I got that from Brother Thordell. I said, man, that's just like when they had the Rumble in the Jungle and the people in the streets were like, Ali, Boomaye.
Ali, Boomaye. Yeah.
Something else. And then too, in context of hip hop, I mean, it's really interesting when I study, contemporary African music all over the continent, because we have a podcast, Afropop Radio, which we're going to actually rerun this interview on there where we talk about contemporary African music. When I first began to go over to Africa, of course, I'm a radio veteran, so I'm listening to the radio stations. I'm saying, okay, what's hot in the streets, what's going on? And I start hearing this incredible music, and I'm like, yo, do the people at home know this is going on, over here? And it was really something. And so that's the birth of Afropop radio. And one thing that I noticed, like especially in Mali, right? So you have the different the kora, right? They have that big gourd that looks like a heart, but it's a gigantic thing. But
yes.
The tradition of a kora player is not only do you play the beautiful instrument, but you're a griot. So when we begin to talk about the Diamante family, it's like these guys are 70 generations of being a griot, telling a story, telling it in a melodic, rhythmic, rhyming way. And, it's interesting if you connect that to hip hop right now, it's really, really, really something how those traditions all across the continent, deep in the continent, have made its way to the streets of modern day America. I really I see that spirit still has, survived the Middle Passage all the way now to nowadays. Now, okay, so you all say Tupac. What about the African side of your music? So you're Kenyan, and does the music of Fela Kuti, even though the high life and all of that is West African, does that have an influence in your African rhythms of your music?
Well, I would say definitely Fela Kuti is an influence. Now in Kenya, did we listen to Fela Kuti? No. So way over there in the West, and when we were still in Kenya, there was really no internet. So we didn't connect with that, which is the beauty of moving. and going overseas, right? Because one of the beautiful things was connecting with all kinds of other Africans too, not just African American, but other Africans. And our background, although we're born in Kenya, my father is from the Congo, and my mom is also half Ugandan. So that was the music we grew up listening to. It was very traditional music. Congo at the time was it was like the hot topic when it came to music in Africa, and it was Lingala music. So it didn't matter what party you went to, Nigerian party, Ghanaian party, Kenyan party, they were gonna be playing Lingala music just because that was kind of the vibe and the sound of that time. And it brings us even closer to the energy of Afro beats, because Afro beats and Afrobeat are not the same sound. And a lot of people are not familiar with that. So, it brings that same energy of the dance party that comes from the Lingala spirit, the Congo spirit, which, fun fact, history fact, they say 1 in 4 African Americans actually came from the Congolese area, the empire. So, we have that blend of Central West Africa sound, and also going to Kenya, the Eastern sound, and Uganda, that Eastern sound. So that would be the influence overall, is just the overall culture. I wouldn't even put it on one person, one finger. Now, of course, bringing it to hip hop, it's easier to kind of like pinpoint to like, all right, this artist, that artist was talking about that. But in Africa, it's more about it. It's like a spirit, so, we're channeling the same spirit, but we're using English, with, of course, a blend of Swahili and other languages that we know. So there we go with it.
All right. I was going to ask you what languages do you speak? So you say Swahili there, and you're right about the Congolese. I mean, we have some very good friends who are Congolese, and man, we've had dinner and the whole.
How's the food?
Woo, yes.
That part.
So good.
The ironic. Sorry, go ahead. I was going to say that ironic is like growing up, I actually, we weren't really big fans of African music, especially in Africa growing up. Really didn't like it because at the time, we're listening to the American music. I want to sound American. I want to talk about what the Americans are talking about. I want to have their experience. It wasn't until we grew up and, had that influence from mom, like bro said earlier. Mom really influenced a lot of the African sounds and the African appearance and representation in our arts and crafts. She really, really influenced that because she was a fashion designer, and she's been doing that forever, just infusing like modern clothes with African clothes. So we decided to do that through our music, and that's around the time period. Even a little bit before that, a couple of years before that, is when we really, really started appreciating our heritage. So it's funny that we're talking about the music, and we weren't even really fans of the African music in Africa at that time.
Yeah.
That seems to be an issue. I listen daily to African radio stations. I love the internet. I listen to radio stations all over the continent. And doggone it, they play too much American
music. Yeah.
I know in South Africa, one of the controversies a year or so ago was the government broadcaster put a rule out that said, hey, you have to play 80% of your playlist has to be from Africa, because they were just playing too much American music. But sometimes, man, I'm listening to my stations, and I said, shoot, I can listen to that here,
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's because they want that American experience.
Yeah, I mean, it comes from, that there's a whole history of where that even comes from, from just not appreciating self, and also the younger generation. I'm sure, I've heard some of my American partners tell me about, well, I didn't want to listen to a bunch of my mom's music. I want to listen to my music. And then when they got older, they appreciate it. It's like, man, this is what my mom used to play when we're cleaning up and blah, blah, blah. It's, they had they didn't have the choice. They already kind of inherited the music just through the culture. Where with us, it was the same thing. We wanted what was new at the time, and what was hot was, Black people was getting on TV, coming from the 80s to the 90s. Like now knowing American history, it's like, well, that wasn't always the case. Just Black music is on white radio stations, and just the main radio stations, and TV stations. So and everything comes to Africa a little bit later than it hits America. Of course, this is where it's happening. So by the time it gets to Kenya, it's like 2-3 years later. You know, so we didn't always get things at the same time. So we appreciated artists way later, you know, like for example, Tupac was really just blowing up when he was like, when he got murdered out here. So, and over here, he was already a star, you know, a mega star. So it's just kind of like understanding that dynamic.
That's really interesting too, because, you know, what I also find out is that a lot of the artists of, we would consider them mid-tier artists here. So, right. So, you know, they might be, they're not going to be selling out stadiums here.
Right,
You know,
right.
you might go see them at a smaller venue and their records are on the radio, but they're mid-tier artists. But then you go over to Africa, they're like
Mega.
ginormous stars, you know, and that's really something, you know. And then too, you know what I like about what you said about not wanting to hear your mom's music and everything. One of the, I love to be in the car driving, and they'll hear a rap. The young people will hear a rap song, and they'll say, "Oh, that's the, you know, that's such and such's beat," and I could always say, "No, that was the Temptations back in the day," you know, the original beat, you know. And so, you know, how that old music, your mom's music, still lives through the sampling of hip hop. Mm-hmm. Yes. All right, Pyhon, I think we lost your brother there. Let's see what happened.
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
He got knocked off. Right, so let me ask you this question now. All right.
Yes.
You know, everybody is talking about the Super Bowl the other day, right? And the Weeknd's performance. Okay, and I'm really trying to understand this. When the Weeknd first came out, I was working at a radio station, and one of my clients was Live Nation. Live Nation wants to do a radio advertising buy for this kid, The Weeknd. We had never heard of him, you know, the whole thing. And at that point, he had already sold out 2 nights at the Greek Theater. They were buying the advertising so they could push the 3rd night over the top. And I'm like, what? This guy's not on the radio. He's not anything. Come to find out, you know, YouTube, right, has driven his whole stardom, and he's a huge star. All right. The debate, I guess not even a debate. A lot of people did not appreciate his performance the other day.
Sorry, Greg. I think bro's trying to get back in right now.
I see him right there. I see him. Okay, so a lot of people did not appreciate his performance. I actually did. I just don't think he was iconic enough to even get the gig, but that's not my choice. That's just my opinion. What do you guys think? I mean, he's closer to your generation. Is The Weeknd iconic enough? And what was your critical analysis of his performance on Sunday?
On this Sunday, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not. I don't really watch Super Bowl. I'm not like a sports fan or anything like that. Occasionally, I do catch the halftime show, and you know that's what people are shining. And I know this time there were a lot of artists involved, a lot of different artists involved. But for the most part, I have had an opportunity of meeting The Weeknd. He was a cool guy, really down to earth. And even just outside of that, you know, his heritage is African. I believe he's Eritrean, Ethiopian. He's from East Africa, just like I'm from East Africa. So on that regard, I respect him. I think he is iconic just for any immigrant to be in the States and then figure a way out to like reimagine yourself and present that to the world, and you're talented at the same time. Yeah, I gotta take hats off. But as far as like watching a halftime show and being able to give you like a breakdown and introspective insight on it, I can't really do that. I ain't watch it. I don't really do sports like that. I used to play sports back in the Gap, but you know, not no more. I'm not really tuned in like that. But I'm a fan of The Weeknd. It's dope.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. You know, I didn't watch it. You know, I stand with Cap. I didn't watch it just because first of all, none of the teams were exciting to me. 1, well, 2. First, Cap. 2, none of the teams were exciting, and 3, The Weeknd. I've seen him perform before, and that show was good. I know there's so many other dynamics that go into it. Now, Super Bowl shows are grand. You know, I was a huge fan of the Michael Jackson and Prince shows. Like, I watch those still. So if I'm comparing to that, I have seen the highlights. You know, it's not good to really compare artists. Like he's doing his own thing as The Weeknd. So it's kind of like you got to take away that nostalgia. I know a lot of us who come from that era. It's like, well, it ain't Michael Jackson, it ain't Prince, but it's The Weeknd, and he did this thing. And I know a lot of artists right now kind of even scared to touch the NFL thing because of the politics that have been surrounding it for the past couple of years. So, I know it's a little difficult to even make that decision to be a part of that, because some people want to boycott you, some people, whatever. But I think he did a good job for what he had.
All right, fair enough, guys. Fair enough. Okay, so now you got. Let's talk about your music here. What's the latest single? Is that the No Idea?
We actually latest. Go ahead.
Well, so No Idea was one of the singles we dropped last December. Basically, just dropped a video for No Idea. So reintroducing, showing everybody what PS Rebels has been about, and Boom Aye, it's a battle cry for 2021. So that's how we wanted to roll it out. And coming from a hard year, 2020 was kind of crazy. It was new, COVID, it was just bananas. So it was that energy of like, this is the spirit of triumph. This is the spirit of whatever you're doing, just overcome it, just kill them, which Boom Aye is Lingala for kill him. So that's the literal term. So whenever they were saying Ali Boom Aye, it was like Ali kill him. But we're taking that term and, using it with the American twist on it, of like, kill him. Go out there and kill him, break a leg, whatever you're doing, whether you hustling on the street, legally doing some good stuff, and or whatever. Honestly, whatever you're doing, economically, it's challenging to make it anywhere. So whatever you got to do, if you're in school, man, make sure you get those grades up. Don't waste your time there. So that's the energy we're really bringing with Boom Aye and No Idea. Just No Idea. Like you don't know what we've been through to get here. I'll let Pine even speak on that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, just No Idea. A lot of times people see us and they think that it's fly-by overnight success. And, this was just an instantaneous fast food, microwavable type career, and it's just instantly happened. But that's not the case. People don't understand the things that we had to experience just through our life in Africa, then our life here, living in a village, living in a big city, and just experiencing all those different aspects of life. And then we wanted to compile that onto a song, onto a record, and just let people know, like, yo, you may see us, we're here, living in California, we in Hollywood, we're doing our thing, whatever the case is, and people like, oh, you going Hollywood, oh, this was just overnight, fly by overnight. And that's not the case at all. Like, we really, really, really put in some work for this. We really, really, really got it out the mud. We really, really, really put it in some hard work back even in Texas. And now it's just manifesting everything that we've visualized over the years, and our career is just manifesting now. And, a lot of people were just being introduced to our brand. We're just letting people know, like, yo, you have no idea what we did to get here and what we did to sit here like kings,
Speak.
That's right. How long you been in the game though? So tell the people how long now. Okay, let me ask it like this.
Yeah,
I'm just now hearing to y'all.
I'm sorry.
How come I'm just hearing about y'all?
Man, that's what I'm saying. This is and then it's also it's a lot of music, but then we also in California. We were just moving from Dallas. We were doing our thing in Dallas. And you shout out to DF Dub 817-214-4669. You already know. We were doing a lot of things in Dallas, a lot of things in Dallas, but we had an option. The label that we were working with at the time, we're trying to figure out, is it going to be New York or is it going to be California? Because we're going to have to leave. And so all our plugs, all our connections, everybody was in New York. But, we African, and I'm not really designed or built for that cold, and neither is bro. So one of the determining factors was coming out to West, where they do appreciate culture. It's a lot more progressive, and it's a lot more embracing of different communities. And now we're just tapping in and sewing into that community. but you are hearing about us now, so something is
Yeah,
happening.
there's no better time than the present, you know.
No doubt, no doubt. Look, well, let me ask you this question. So, you guys doing okay in this COVID environment? I guess you've been making music, obviously, you know,
For
in
sure.
quarantine and everything. So, what's what's it looking like for you right now?
Well, as far as music, so during this time period, one thing that a lot of immigrants, you know, when you come over here, you got to figure a way to diversify yourself. You got to like expand that portfolio, become more of an entrepreneur. This is why a lot of people appreciate America. It supports and gives opportunity for people to be their own bosses and be their own entrepreneurs. And so that's one thing that this time period has definitely taught us, or at least taught me, and it's made me focus on. It's not just being about being your own boss. That is a beautiful thing, but it's all about starting new things, being innovative, figuring out ways to make yourself relevant, you know. And the people who are not necessarily entrepreneurs are looking into the future. Those are the people who are really kind of having a hard time. And it's not anybody's fault, you know. A lot of small businesses have been affected, a lot of small businesses. And if you take into consideration the small businesses that have employees, that have brick and mortar locations, a lot of those businesses are taking a hit. I believe they're saying 1 in 4 businesses has been shut down since COVID. That's a lot of businesses. A lot of businesses. So it's just figuring a way out to stay afloat and present yourself online, you know. Online's a new marketplace, you know. People are the face-to-face, that thing is fading out. Look what we're doing now. We're doing an interview online, you know. Before it wouldn't have been like that. It was a little bit different. So that's one thing I can say about COVID. Is just reinforced the concept of entrepreneurship, doing your own thing, and you gotta diversify. So I got a few different businesses, bro got a few different businesses, and you know, these are businesses that we're just equally as passionate about, you know, relating to similar to the music, because these are things that are helping people and we believe are helping people. So that's one element of it. And then just finding a way to inspire and motivate yourself, because as a creative, if you're not inspired, if you don't feel motivated, you can't create. You know, you can't create, especially when you feel like you're in that spirit. And so with the music, you know, just finding a way to stay motivated, looking at different things online, experiencing different things physically. Don't let the physical experiences be snatched away from your life. That is also very, very important. So we've been trying to just balance that out. That's one way I could say we've been dealing with COVID.
Man, I mean, pretty much, I you know, I co-sign that. I would say, you know, coming from Africa, and it's always weird talking about COVID. With people who really haven't gone through the same equivalent, right? So we have you know, we have a lot of you know, a lot of experience when it comes to vaccines and things like that, just as recipients. Now, I'm not a scientist, but you know, I know a lot of Africans can tell you we all got that vaccine scar, you know, especially if you're born from the 80s, 90s. You know, we were trial babies. A lot of us were trial babies for American pharmaceutical companies, or, you know, or not just American, but pharmaceutical companies, period. So when it comes to this whole COVID thing, whenever it happened, to me, it was just weird that they really just, you know, the country shut down. That was the only part that's like, of course, nobody has really experienced that, especially living in a first world country. Now in the third world country, it's typical for stores not to have full shelves. It's typical for a lot of people to be unemployed. It's typical for the hospitals to be overwhelmed because of the structures of the nations that we're in. And, you know, of course, these are not organic structures. These are all, you know, man-made designs. So when we talk about oppression and things like that, COVID to me, bringing us to COVID, what it really was to me was kind of like a break from American lifestyle of FOMO, which, you know, that consistent fear of missing out, right? Whether it's like the next opportunity, what's the next situation, what's this, what should I be doing with my life? Where America, I felt, has lost its sense of community. Is really like, you know, there's small communities, small pockets of communities here and there, But overall, we're losing that because, especially my generation, everyone's trying to get the bag, right? It's get the bag, and the bag is just a tool. People forget that. You don't just say get the hammer, get the hammer all day. No, it's like what are you doing with this bag that we need to get? So we've kind of lost that direction of just slowing down and being human. So I feel like COVID, although it, of course, has claimed a lot of lives, and some of my friends and peers and things like that have been affected from COVID physically, not just the financial aspect of it, but physically. So of course that I share my condolences with them. But the side that most everyone is experiencing is a shutdown. And I feel like that may have been necessary for like a lot of the human spirit, for those who believe in the spiritual aspect. I feel like that was necessary. Now, as an artist, I want to get back out there. I want to perform. I want to connect with people. It's harder to connect online than in person, just the human experience. So I would say that's the only aspect, going out there. But in California, I mean, you can go outside, you can still go hiking, just wear a mask and things, social distance rules, but it's not the end of the world. Coming from, places where, Somalia is right next to us. I have a lot of Somalian partners, and, they'll tell you about seeing bombs all day. They'll tell you about Black Hawk Down live. And, Congo, same thing. So it's like, it's really hard for me to kind of relate to like, hey, the country slowed down. It's like, well, you still have stores. You still got a bunch of stuff going on that other countries don't on a regular basis, pre-COVID, post-COVID, So that's kind of where I was at with it.
That's very, very profound, my brother. Now, let me ask you this. Okay, so we just produced a major virtual event for the Martin Luther King holiday with the city of Long Beach. And we had Cy Smith, we had Kenny Lattimore, we had two local bands, Brown Suede. These brothers are dope. They're criminal defense attorneys by day, but kick butt bands, at night. Had them on. And we had the Real Band, which is an incredible cover band. And it was really great. And we're exploring to do a lot more in this virtual space. And actually, I'm going to invite you all to keep linked up with us so that we can do some virtual shows.
Sure.
Let me ask you, as artists, I'm just curious. So, does the virtual experience take away from your presentation, or does the audience? How do you feel the audience connects with you now that we have to consume your art through the
this is the most simple example. It's kind of like being on Tinder, right, or being on Bumble. You could find a date like that. You could find somebody that you want to deal with that like that. You can connect with somebody like that, but there's nothing more authentic than actually going on a date and talking to the person face to face on this date and actually seeing the bodily mannerisms and bodily behavior and body language. So that's the same thing I'm equating to the music, where it's fun doing shows, period, whether it's online or whether you're doing it face to face. It's fun doing shows, but there's nothing like doing it live.
Yeah, I would agree to that. Live is just it's a better experience. I'm personally somebody who is I don't like technology like that. I definitely I love where technology is going, but I don't like the whole having to tap in online. Like I like technological advances, but the whole interaction socially, I don't like texting. Just call me. We'll get it over with in a few seconds. If you have something to say. If you don't have anything to say, then text me. So, kind of like, let's get to the point. So yeah, as an artist, that connection, we'll settle for the online. It's a privilege that we're here with technology, because if the pandemic happened in the 50s, 60s, like, those artists would suffer, they would suffer tremendously. Where we have been able to, do events and things like that and host shows. People are still doing live events and still connecting with live. So I do appreciate those aspects of it. But nothing, as Pyhan said, there's nothing really beating that live experience, seeing me face to face, hearing these words and being able to ask questions and kind of like feel the human in me.
So now that, I was talking to the California State Surgeon General, and she was saying, we're not going to do live till next year, late next year sometime. So we're kind of stuck with it, and as a person who really has dedicated my life to promoting, music, arts, and culture from a global, culturally relevant space, we're just trying to figure out, okay, how deep shall we go down this whole technology thing? Because it requires, from a business standpoint, it requires some investment. It requires time. How do we properly take care of our artists, financially? How do we help them make more dollars? And, there's all these questions that come about. And, we don't want to get into it and then next month everybody's good. Right. Yeah. So okay. So now, do you guys, what has been your best virtual experience? Like, give me a good case study of what you've done since we've been under COVID and it was really successful for you.
I know personally, we did a show I guess like the first tail end of COVID. We did a virtual show. And one thing I do like about virtual shows, I'm not gonna lie to you, is it's really just about a production. You get to like set up the stage how you want to set it up and really just kind of be in your own zone while the rest of the world watches you. That's one thing I do like about it. And I feel like it was really dope. It was really successful. A lot of merch was moved, a lot of people we met. We connected with some important people that can help progress our career further. So that's always a success. Anytime, to me personally, you get people that want to invest their time, money, or energy into your brand, and that's based off a show that they have just seen you do, whether it's live or whether it's digital. Whenever you get that type of response or reaction, that's always a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
That's interesting you say that, because like when I watch, say, the NBA, right, I'm saying, dang, man, the game on the floor is much more intense, because there's nobody in the audience.
No distractions.
Right, no distractions. So your art is kind of the same as what you
I agree.
Interesting. All right, brother. So look, how can we get your music and tell the people how we get a hold of you? I know how to get a hold of you now. So look, you got a new friend over here, Uncle Greg doing it.
Yeah. Peace to Uncle Greg over there.
So how do we get a hold of y'all?
All right, so
I'll let them know. So best way to get a hold of us is going to be on pstherebels.com. That's pstherebels.com. And on social media, it's going to be at pstherebels. And that's on everything. So that's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, wherever. We also have merchandise on our website. You can check out the videos. Just connect with me and Pyhan. We are regular people. We control our messages. So if you hit us up, most likely you'll be one of us hitting you back. And we're just personable people. So reach out. PS the Rebels.
Yeah, I really, really like that a lot, and I really love the vibe here, just meeting with you brothers like just today, and this is really, really good stuff. Before we get out of here, I am going to let you know we're going to play Boomaye and No Idea.
Yeah.
And then
all right.
So when I first Googled you all, and maybe this was a mistake, now, was some of your music in the Assassin's Creed?
No. Okay. But if it is, let me know. Send them a letter.
I Googled PS the Rebels and it came up and it said, okay, the music is in Assassin's Creed. I was like, dang, what?
Well, I do know a lot of sometimes we do have gamers because we also in the game community. So a lot of gamers sometimes use our music, for their game presentation. So you're gonna run into that. Just the different worlds that we're tapped into. So that's good.
Yeah. So that's what I told Thornell. I said, hey man, you guys are on. You like what?
Health, politics.
Also, one of the businesses, is CMOS. CMOS is. I'll let Pion kind of talk about it because it is COVID era, and right now it's crazy going on. So Pion, let them know a little bit about that.
Yeah, for sure. So when we were talking about earlier about businesses, one of the businesses decided to go ahead and invest in and actually just create. It's CMOS. It's Umoja Organics is the name of the company. You can go online. Umoja, which is unity in Swahili. That's what it means, unity. UmojaOrganics.com. It can tell you a lot more about CMOS. CMOS is a sea vegetable straight from the ocean. I don't know if you're familiar with Dr. Sebi, but according to Dr. Sebi, let's just say that is his best herb. That's one of the best things that he's been taking for years. So it helps with a lot of different things in your body. But the most important thing, which is why I'm talking about it, aside to helping your skin, your hair, your nails grow, aside of all that and getting rid of the mucus in the body, CMOS actually focuses on building your immune system. And that's the most important thing, especially in today's climate.
Right,
a lot of people just think that just popping some pills and not actually changing your lifestyle is going to increase your immune system. No, it's a process, but you want your immune system strong enough to where it's equipped to deal with these different things. So yeah, this is an African-owned company, and it's just focused on health and just bringing more awareness surrounding the issues that we're dealing with illnesses, diseases, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We could really get rid of a lot of it. We could get rid of just with education.
What's the website?
So CMOS. It's umojaorganics.com.
Yeah. You want me, Greg?
Chat. We put that in the chat there for everybody. UmojaOrganics.com.
Thank you.
We're gonna make an order ourselves. So we can get some CMOS and add that to our lineup of preventatives around here. We're taking our vitamin D. We're exercising, meditating, all that. Yes, brother. And just try to get through this thing.
Yeah.
This is good stuff. Yeah.
Good.
You know what, man? I just want to tell y'all, it's just an honor to meet you and chop it up with you here. And
same.
like I said, let's just keep linked up. And I want to do a virtual with you guys, man. Let's do some stuff. I don't know if you guys are familiar with our friend Sandra Isidore. You know Sandra Isidore? You heard of her? So she was Fela Kuti's influence when he came to the United States, and she's the one who began to introduce him to having a politically conscious mind and all of that. She is very much an intimate part of the whole Fela Kuti story. That's our friend. And so we've been chatting about presenting African music in this virtual space. We've got to do it. We want to keep building this bridge of music, arts, and culture. You hear me say that time and time again, because it is essential that we link up with the continent of Africa. We link up with our brothers and sisters from Africa that live here. They're our neighbors. We're all the same, man. It's like you can't deny that. People, if you are having a problem with our African brothers and sisters, you got to check yourself first.
That part.
We are all the same.
Exactly.
Now more than ever, we have to embrace each other's music. Tell our own stories. Super producer Rhonda Love is here, filmmaker over there. That's her motto around here all the time is tell our own stories.
Yes.
We live by. And that's why we want to keep with y'all, and let's just do some stuff. Let's see what happens.
Let's make it work.
Do it.
Yes, sir. Okay. All right, everybody. There it is. I'm just going to play these videos back to back for y'all. I won't come back and say goodbye. I'll just say my goodbyes right now. And you know what I always say is love one another.
Word.
Love one another.
That's peace.
Love one another.
Yes.
Peace and blessings.
Peace and power to you, brother.
Yes. All right. Here's Boomaye first, and then we'll end it with No Idea. And I think we're gonna end it with Mary Wilson's a video that she posted on February 6th.
Right.
Just the other day. So there we go.
R.I.P.
All right, everybody. Here we
Peace, wing.
go. Yes. Boomaye.
One, two, three. This to the hustler. This for my grind. My all-time survivors. Yeah. Whatever you do, go kill him. This to the hustler. This for my grind. My all-time survivors. Yeah. Whatever you do, go kill him. Look, they used to hang my ancestors from trees with no respect. I cut that tree down and put that sucker up on my neck. With the medallions, African pieces on my chest. P.S. the rebels, you see them just a piece of myself. People grind to be on my left, hustle survive be on my right. You know the type, don't sleep but take naps, cause we be up all night. I send money Western Union when I free up, alright? And make sure that I fill up your cabinet cupboards like a hustler, a grinder. Say I leave Boomaye, I leave Boomaye. P.S. the rebels Boomaye upon that Tuesday play. Do it in numerous ways. Kama akuna hey tuta kula great. So bring it back like boomerangs and turn it up and boom the bass on the hip hop boom bap with a little blend of Kwame Toure. Grind the Wednesday to Tuesday, and today is no exceptions to the rules in which we play. This to the hustle. This for my grind. My all-time survivors. Yeah. Whatever you do, go kill him. This to the hustle. This for my grind. My all-time survivors. Yeah. Whatever you do, go kill him. Hey, peace to my ancestors, locked with chains around their wrists, until we broke them chains and showed them all what power is. How the ghost devoured king, battle for that power shift, devour it. Now and then, black power is empowerment, but now we just, perish for the lack of knowledge. In the village, economics, self-taught, electronics, never entered college. Got the intellect of 7 scholars, never tell them sorry when we boot my and then we conquer everything that we see. 6 feet underneath, hard work plus dedication, what it takes to succeed. Mouse quake on the beat, to help with the outreach. Really seen guns, really seen blood, and we got the receipts. Boomaye mean kill him. In the language of Lingala, Los Angeles to the land of Wakanda. I'ma pull up in a Oblak Tanka, peace to Kabaka of the Baganda, cause I've been focused on cleaning my karma. Santi Sana kwa hii baraka, our new saga, follow the mantra. To the hustlers, this for my grind, my all-time survivors. Yeah. Whatever you do, go kill him. This to the hustlers. This for my grind, my all-time survivors. Yeah. Whatever you do, go kill him. This to the hustlers. This for my grind, my all-time survivors. Yeah. Whatever you do, go kill him. This to the hustler. This for my grind. My all-time survivors. Yeah. Whatever you do, go kill him. You have no idea what we did to get right here. What we did to sit right here. You don't even fit the criteria. You have no idea what we sacrificed on the grind. Soldiers in the war that have died. You don't even know what's required. You have no idea. This African at it again, just like an addict relapsing again. Mentally trapped in an animal pen till we killed the slave master and captured the ship. I'm the captain, no cap, I'm legit. No idea how we all salvaged to live, but we did it. It made me a savage, surrounded by malice. Have no idea how this flow turned me into our king, and I'm covered in African print. No idea how every challenge I win. No idea how many hours I spent over years underground like a crypt. Stick to the script like director with lens. I'm a rebel and I fight with the pen. You have no idea what my rivals did, what I sacrificed for the life I live. You have no idea what we did to get right here. What we did to sit right here. You don't even fit the criteria. You have no idea what we sacrificed on the grind. Soldiers in the war that have died. You don't even know what's required. You have no idea.
I swear to God, you have no idea of what I do when I go out there. We got a sold out here. What it do, man? So I hear niggas compare, but no one near. So we rare, even though that life ain't fair. You breathe air on purpose here. You're not a carcass here. Now take it back like a carcass said. If you think that it's overnight, that's an oversight. My people die, nigga, over rights. And we don't speak over fights. But you listen to me over ice, over cars, it's overpriced. It's an overload to override, not overnight. I know you know, I know the fight. It's just when you think that it's over, right?
You have no idea what we did to get right here. What we did to sit right here. You don't even fit the criteria. You have no idea what we sacrificed on the grind. Soldiers in the war that have died. You don't even know what's required. You have no idea what we did to get right here. What we did to sit right here. You don't even fit the criteria. You have no idea what we sacrificed on the grind. Soldiers in the war that have died. You don't even know what's required. You have no idea what we did to get right here. What we did to sit right here. You don't even fit the criteria. You have no idea what we sacrificed on the grind. Soldiers in the war that have died. You don't even know what's required. You have no idea.
Right here. Right here. Nah, man. Yeah. 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 What you know?
Well, this is Black History Month. Yes, indeed, it is. And I am just so thrilled because so much has happened to me in the month of February. I mean, really. When I say me, I mean the Supremes, you know. And so we're going to be talking about Supremes, 60th anniversary. And I will be talking a lot about that, and mainly because I finally have decided how to work with Universal, and they are going to release new recordings, Mary Wilson recordings. Yes, at last. At last. Thank you, Andy's girl, for, helping in that, and Harry too. But anyway, so much is happening. I mean, like I said, we will be talking about those new releases, Mary Wilson's. I think they're going to release Red Hot, that album. Remember in the late 60s? Was that late 60s? Yeah. No, it wasn't. It was the late 70s. But it was in February. So let me tell you, on this album, Red Hot, and I have the Gus Dudgeon songs that I did in the late 70s. That's the right time. And it was 4 wonderful songs that were never released, so now they'll be released. And I've also have some other songs, some surprising new songs, new recordings. Yeah, so thank you, Universal, for, chiming in with me and helping this come true. Hopefully some of that will be out on my birthday. Yeah, March 6th. Yeah, and we'll see. Okay, I got my fingers crossed here. Yes, I do. So, and also this month is, this month is Black History Month, as I mentioned, and it is just so much is happening. I'm going to have a couple of interviews on there. One that I did at the Carlisle Hotel in New York, and I was interviewed about that Green Book. I hope you guys saw the movie, because that was something that, hey, we the Supremes, we experienced a lot of that stuff, right? Especially when we were on the Motown Review tour in the South. And then, of course, we were on the Dick Clark Caravan of Stars show, and we had a lot of things happening to us on those shows because of the segregation. So those are two important things that we're going to be talking about. And also, I think one of the other interviews I did was from, it was about Leo's Casino in Ohio. So, I want you guys to really check that out, because, we talked a lot about the segregation and things like that. So that's, a couple of interviews I did. Now I'm going to give you some dates, because it's all in February, right? So let me see. February 2nd, My Heart Can't Take It No More. That was released. And we actually performed that at the Apollo during the Motown Review tour in 1963. So then February 7th, Run, Run, Run was released. I love Run, Run, Run. We really thought that was going to be a hit, but it wasn't. But anyway, we performed that on the Tammy Show. Yes, we did. So those two. And then there was also February 8th, Stop and the Name was released, and that was in 1964, though. And we performed that one. Let me see. We did that on lots of TV shows. Yes, we did. In fact, I think it was Shindig, February 24th, 1965. We did that one, so I love that one. So then, of course, on the 18th of February, we did Where the Action Is. That was fun. There's a lot of other artists on that show with us, so check that one out. And then February 18th, I Hear Symphony was released. That was one of my favorite Supreme songs, Holland Dozier Holland songs, I should say, because they did all those early songs, and I thank you guys for that. And then, let me see, that was February 20th, we were on the Ed Sullivan Show. Yes, indeed, 1966. So those are some of the things that you're going to be seeing on the YouTube channel, and I just want to thank you guys for, chiming in and seeing, some of the things that we did back in the day. In the second part of the month, I will give you some other things that we did in February, all February. And it wasn't all good, some of the things that happened, because, of course, we lost our very dear sister, Florence Ballard, on February 26th. But we'll talk about those things later on in the month. So make sure you check out the channel, check it out. Got lots of new uploads and new interviews, and all those things. Of course, Black History Month is going to be our theme for the month. Okay? Thank you. Take care, guys. Bye.